This past summer, Liverpool have been going crazy in the transfer market, signing great to superstar level players for absurd amounts of money, something I haven't seen from Liverpool like ever. But not only that, in the first few games of the season, Liverpool have been cooking and have been getting wins when it seemed like there was no chance that we were. And due to both the signings and the positive results, I can't help but shake the feeling that Liverpool might actually have a chance at winning everything this season. So what are the more detailed reasons on why I feel so confident about this Liverpool side? Well, let's take a look. Now it's important to start this preview off by going to the beginning of the summer break, where it felt pretty clear that Liverpool needed to dive into the transfer market, with the captain Virgil van Dijk even coming out and saying that it's going to be a big summer. And the reason why Van Dijk and the fans felt like there were big changes coming to Liverpool was because the squad needed massive re-strengthening. Yes, we did come away as the Premier League champions, but there were flaws in this team that everybody could see. For starters, we desperately needed new fullbacks, with Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving to Real Madrid on basically a free transfer, with him desperate for a new experience, and probably to play with Jude Bellingham, let's keep it real, and Andy Robertson simply not being at the highest levels anymore. Then with Kelleher departing to Brentford, and Alisson only getting older and still kind of being injury prone, we would also need a new goalkeeper, possibly some new center back options as well, with Gerald Kwanzaa dipping to Bayer Leverkusen for around 40 million euros, and Ibrahima Konate's situation still being up in the air, with Real Madrid and PSG having a link with them on a free transfer next summer. And the entire attack needed a massive revamping apart from Mohamed Salah, because it was clear that we relied on him heavily for goals and assists in our Premier League winning season last campaign, with Luis Diaz always being a purple patch warrior and only performing when the sun is shining, and also the fact that he dipped to Bayern Munich for a significant fee, and Darwin Núñez's footballing IQ being on the same level as a zebra, and also the fact that he got sold to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia as well. Mo Salah, please don't come after me, bro. I'm just joking, I promise. Oh, and also Cody Gakpo having some injury issues that affected our form last season, Harvey Elliott leaving to Aston Villa on deadline day, and the sad passing of Diego Jota, may he rest in peace, meant that basically we needed a rebuilding for the entire squad except maybe the midfield. And that's when the head of football at FSG, Michael Edwards, and the Liverpool sporting director, Richard Hughes, got to work, because they desperately needed to back Arne Slot this summer. After all, he literally won the league with no signings. Yeah, Federico Chiesa does not count, bro. He barely played for us. So this summer, with Arne Slot proving himself, we needed to cause some damage in the transfer market, and we did. Regarding the future goalkeeping situation, that was already pretty much solved last summer, with us signing the Georgian goalkeeper from Valencia, Giorgio Mamardashvili, last summer for an initial fee of 30 million euros. But he was just back out on loan at Valencia for the entirety of the 24-25 season. So this year, he'll definitely feel like a new signing for us. And trust me, it hasn't happened yet, but he'll probably get plenty of game time, because Alisson always has a lengthy injury every season, it seems like nowadays. So yeah, Mamardashvili will get game time and eventually become the future number one in a few years' time. So that was great business from Liverpool's part. But now it was time that we needed to make some new signings in the summer of 2025. And the fullback position was probably the next urgent issue that we needed to resolve. The fullbacks we had at the club needed upgrading. As I already said, Robbo is getting older and slower, and Tsimikas dipped out on loan to Roma, because I don't think he was ever good enough to become the starter at this club, respectfully. And while Connor Bradley is definitely the future right back, we still definitely need a depth piece from the outside or someone to potentially challenge him for that spot. And that's when Hughes and Edwards got to work, and they found a solution. So first, we solved the right back situation with Jeremie Frimpong, the former Bayer Leverkusen and Dutch right back, thanks to him having a 35 million euro release clause, making it a pretty straightforward deal to get done. Not only that, Jeremie Frimpong's transfer to Liverpool doesn't occupy an international player slot due to his status as a homegrown player under UEFA regulations, with him spending some time in Manchester City's academy. And that's a huge benefit for Liverpool, because that means they can sign more players from abroad. Not only that, Jeremie Frimpong is a boyhood Liverpool fan. He said that he wanted to join the Liverpool academy, but it would have been too hard for his parents to drive him there, so he had to choose Man City. And his dad used to watch LFC TV on the television, supporting Liverpool as well. So for us to sign a fullback who has top quality while also already loving the club beforehand is a huge plus. Yes, I do understand that there are some concerns, like regarding whether Frimpong is an actual right back or not, since he did play in the back five under Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen, where he was more of a winger slash wingback than an actual fullback. But Arne Slot's a genius. I trust that beautiful ball man that he knows what he's doing. Plus, Frimpong's fast as hell, meaning his recovery speed will help us out if he ever gets caught up the pitch, something that Trent lacked actually. He did end up getting injured towards the start of the season though, but I'm sure he'll be an important piece for us when he gets back to full fitness. Anyways, with us finding a right back, we now need a left back. And the obvious and only real choice was what looks like a prime Robbo regen, Milos Kerkez, the Hungarian left back who balled out last season for Bournemouth. He was an absolute stud and showed how good he can be for years to come, and it made perfect sense why Liverpool were desperate to sign him. And what made this deal pretty straightforward as well was that Kerkez himself was desperate to join Liverpool. He kept showing signs on social media that he only wanted to join Liverpool, and that's the only club he'd leave Bournemouth for this summer. And that made me a happy man. It's been a while since we've seen players prioritize and move to Liverpool. After that Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia summer, I've legitimately been traumatized, but this summer I've gained my joy back. We really do have some insane motion. That's Liverpool Football Club, baby. We got hella aura. Anyways, with Milos Kerkez only wanting Liverpool, the deal got done for around 46.7 million euros, and we got our new left back and right back for years to come. Brilliant business. But this was only the start for what's to come, because the attack still needed a massive revamping. And that's where one of the best players in the world already, in my opinion, from the last couple of years, and possibly the best German talent that was available, Florian Wirtz, comes into the picture. And he was definitely a dream transfer target for Liverpool. And his player attributes to transform Liverpool into a completely different beast in theory. You see, Florian Wirtz was a creative magician at the center of the pitch for Leverkusen, and he made things happen. Hence why he was labeled as a top player in the world of football. And with Arne Slot needing another way to break down low blocks, which is what a lot of football teams did against us, he saw Florian Wirtz as somebody who was capable of that at the middle of the pitch. However, throughout the later stages of last season, it seemed like Florian Wirtz was destined to join Bayern Munich. I mean, that is where all the top Bundesliga talents go to, just so they can win numerous Bundesliga titles with the biggest club in the country. But you see, Bayern Munich essentially fumbled Florian Wirtz. They basically made Wirtz feel uncomfortable and exposed the way they publicly spoke about it, and he felt underwhelmed when he spoke to the manager Vincent Kompany, who had no clear tactical plan being shown to him during their meeting. Unlike Arne Slot, who left a strong impression with Wirtz, and it does seem like Slot played a huge role in securing Florian Wirtz. So with all that, Wirtz decided to do the unlikely and join Liverpool instead of Bayern Munich as a German footballer, but for a Premier League record fee of 125 million euros, with around 11.3 million in unachievable add-ons, which would bring the total deal to 136.3 million euros. This is a huge amount of money that Liverpool spent on Florian Wirtz, but Wirtz was an upcoming superstar and could genuinely transform how Liverpool plays, no matter what his position is on the pitch, regardless of his slow start to the season. It's tough to adapt to the Premier League, so just give him some time and watch him cook. But regardless, I think it was quite a necessity to sign someone of Wirtz's quality, which is exactly what we did. But Liverpool were not done with the business, because we still had 2 or 3 transfers left that Liverpool had to make in this generational transfer window for us. And that's because after Wirtz, Liverpool decided to make another huge signing, and it was the 6'3" French striker who played for Eintracht Frankfurt, Hugo Ekitike, who was signed for an enormous amount of around 95 million euros with add-ons included, which is absolutely absurd. But Liverpool were confident in Ekitike's ability, and even though 95 million euros is a lot of money, he showed before that he's an absolute baller, with him scoring 22 goals and getting 12 assists in 48 games. But here's the funny part regarding Ekitike. He wasn't our main target. It was Alexander Isak, who we'll get to later, trust me. But you see, Newcastle decided to go after Hugo Ekitike, but with Newcastle trying to run a 2-striker formation with Ekitike and Isak, we as a Liverpool came in and told Newcastle to give us Isak or we're taking Ekitike. And when Newcastle said that they don't want to let go of Isak, we did exactly what we said, signing Ekitike and even swooping him away from Chelsea and Manchester United, a club that Ekitike grew up supporting, by the way. Initially, it did seem like a risky signing for us to make, with them still being largely unproven and a completely different profile from our strikers in the past. But when Michael Edwards wants a player, I trust him completely. He rarely misses when it comes to signings. And plus, Ekitike has gone off in the beginning of the 25-26 campaign, but we'll talk about that shortly. However, we did need to build some depth in the back. After all, we did lose Kwanzaa and we didn't replace him. And that's where Liverpool pulled off another masterclass signing in my opinion. And this time, it was the young 18-year-old Italian center back from Parma, Giovanni Leoni, for around 35 million euros, who also, by the way, just got his first Italy senior team call-up to the national team as well. Now, Liverpool have been desperate to sign a young and upcoming center back for some time now, because in the last couple of years, they were initially interested in Leoni before he went to Manchester United, and were even interested in Dean Huijsen, who ended up joining Real Madrid. So Liverpool were desperate to try and find somebody else. And after just 17 Serie A appearances for Parma last season, Leoni established himself as one of Italy's most exciting young talents. And with him being tall at 6'4" and being very strong, with him easily being able to handle Lukaku in the game against Napoli, and also with him being able to learn from his idol, Virgil van Dijk, it seemed like a no-brainer for Liverpool to sign him, which we did. He has an incredible pass selection, he can play either side of the center back role, he's aggressive on the ground and in the air, with him having a 63% aerial win rate in the Serie A, etc. Leoni seemed like a perfect fit, and I'm eager to see how Slot utilizes him now and in the future. Speaking of the now though, Liverpool still wanted to sign another center back, somebody with a bit more experience and who could step in right away, just in case Konate gets injured or leaves the next summer. And that's where Mark Guéhi came in. And to be fair to us, we had a fee agreed for a long time, and Guéhi even wanted to join the Premier League champions as well, with us even getting the here we go for Fabrizio Romano. However, with Crystal Palace failing to sign another center back, with Igor ducking them last minute for West Ham, who the hell is even Igor, by the way, what the helly? Oliver Glasner from Palace threatened to walk away if Palace sold Guéhi, so the deal collapsed and we failed to sign Guéhi on deadline day. But we can still sign him on a free next summer, so there's still some hope. But Glasner's wild for that, bro put his job on the line to keep one of his players. He might be the type of dude to tell a girl that he'll kill himself if she leaves him. That is nasty work. But the Liverpool transfers does not end here, because remember how I mentioned Alexander Isak and the fact that we'll get to him later? Well, here we are. Let's talk about Alexander Isak. Now, throughout the entire summer, Alexander Isak has made it no secret that he wanted to move to Liverpool, and that Liverpool were interested in signing him, but Newcastle remained to sit on their stance that they're not going to let Isak go unless another top striker comes through the window. And the thing is, Newcastle could not attract another striker to join them for the life of them. They failed to sign the likes of Liam Delap, who chose Chelsea, João Pedro, who also joined Chelsea, Strand Larsen, who had to stay at Wolves, Ekitike, who ended up choosing Liverpool over Newcastle despite them being willing to pay £1 million more to Frankfurt, Benjamin Šeško, who ended up joining Manchester United over Newcastle, etc. It seemed like Newcastle weren't going to be able to sign a striker, and despite Alexander Isak coming out on the day of the PFA Awards Wirtz announcing that he wants to leave Newcastle publicly, it seemed like Newcastle were going to force him to stay. But then a couple of days before the transfer window shut, the most unexpected thing happened. Ngumoha, the Stuttgart striker who's been taking over recently, was very strongly linked to a move to Bayern Munich all summer. However, Bayern and Stuttgart struggled to find terms appropriate for a deal. So in the last couple of days in the window, Newcastle came out of nowhere and made an astronomical offer that Ngumoha and Stuttgart couldn't reject. And they did it, because Ngumoha ended up becoming a new Newcastle player, and more importantly, a striker for the club.
Who's your favourite German player of all time?
I like Kai Havertz.
Then, with the addition of finally signing Johan Wissa 30 seconds before the transfer window shut, Newcastle got themselves 2 new attackers, and were more willing to let Alexander Isak go. So in a transfer that was a poorly kept secret throughout the entire summer, Alexander Isak to Liverpool was done for around 125 to 130 million pounds, a British record transfer fee, with Liverpool breaking it twice in one window. And we signed one of the best strikers in the world, if not a top 3 striker in the world if I do say so myself. Isak to Liverpool is going to change how we move. We're forming an absolute super team like as the Warriors when we signed Kevin Durant. This is how the Live Avengers are moving. I'm actually so glad that this saga has finally come to an end. And just glad that we got Isak now, because this guy is unreal. And although he hasn't played any of the games for Liverpool yet, I'm sure he'll be alongside or in place of Ekitike to ball out for us for the rest of the season. Speaking of the games now though, let's talk about how Liverpool is performing so far, and why this club is giving me a ton of hope that we can win some silverware at the end of the season. In fact, in the words of Isak,
I want to win everything.
As simple as that.
Yeah, that was too cold, man. God, I'm hyped. Anyways, the first game we played this season was the Community Shield against Crystal Palace. And although we lost on penalties, with Mo Salah even missing a penalty that was crazy, we still had a good and strong offensive performance, with Hugo Ekitike scoring a well-taken goal from a Wirtz assist to show that he's definitely a top striker in the future. And with Frimpong scoring from an impossible angle at 2020, with Jota probably helping him from up above with that goal, the goals didn't mean much because we did lose the game. But we did avoid the Community Shield curse, so who's really winning? But now it's time to talk about the first Premier League game where we had to play Bournemouth at Anfield on opening day. And this game was crazy. Although the first half was kind of dead, the game exploded once Hugo Ekitike got a lucky bounce to go his way, which put him in a one-on-one situation in which he calmly slotted the ball in to put the Reds up 1-0 in the 37th minute. And he celebrated, showing respect to Diego Jota. You love to see it. And Cody Gakpo would quickly double the lead in the 49th minute of the second half after dribbling past a couple of Bournemouth defenders. And this put us in a good position to collect all 3 points. However, after Semenyo was unfortunately subjected to racist abuse from a racist man pretending to be a Liverpool fan in a wheelchair, he decided to go off on us, and first scored from a cross in the 64th minute, and then sprinted with the ball from halfway and scored in the 76th minute to bring the game back level for Bournemouth 2-2. After this goal, it did feel like Liverpool were going to start this Premier League campaign with only 1 point. But then that sexy Italian man who dished Juventus to be a cop-eye, Federico Chiesa, came on the pitch, and in the 88th minute, scored a half volley sort of thing from inside the box and scored to bring a late lead to the Liverpool in dramatic fashion 3-2. Thank goodness for Chiesa, because he might have just secured our most crucial win of the season, and it was only the first game. And no, Mo Salah inevitably got his opening day goal in the 90+4th minute with his weak foot to secure us 3 points in a 4-2 victory. And after that match, he teared up hearing Jota's song being sung by the crowd. Damn man, losing Jota still hurts us and the players. May he rest in peace. But the Premier League season goes by fast, and the next game against Newcastle at St. Jesus Park snuck up on us. And this was going to be a toxic one. At this time, the Isak situation was still boiling, and Newcastle were still pissed at us. One of the owners of someone high up in Newcastle even tweeted out something like, "Get into them." These guys were out for blood, and they seemed like it too, with Anthony Gordon's challenge on Van Dijk that left scrapes on his leg and got him sent off. A very stupid move by Gordon, I'm not gonna lie. But even with that, Liverpool seemed to be on the back foot in this game. But then Ryan Gravenberch came up clutch in the 35th minute, and his long shot gave the Reds an unexpected 1-0 lead in this game. Then, right when the second half started in the 46th minute, Hugo Ekitike would get on the scoreboard once again to make sure Liverpool were up 2-0 away from home at Newcastle. The goal happened so fast that Arne Slot missed it completely. Bro was still in the dressing room combing his hair. But it wouldn't be all sunshine and rainbows, because in the 57th minute, Bruno Guimaraes completely bossed Kerkez, which I have no idea what he's doing there, ducking his head like that, and he scored to bring Newcastle back in the game. Then William Osula, a forgotten man in Newcastle squad, came up clutch as he got around Konate Easley, who was having a poor game, and scored in the 88th minute to level up the tie 2-2 at home. It seemed like Liverpool were going to drop points, but just like in the game against Bournemouth, Liverpool took Nick A30's advice pretty seriously.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Let's right! Let's go!
And the young star boy, Rio Ngumoha, who was 16 years old at the time, gets free in the box with Szoboszlai dumbing very cleverly for him. And he finished it brilliantly to become the 4th youngest Premier League goal scorer of all time, and also secured all 3 points for the Reds in a 3-2 win. Rio Ngumoha is going to be a household name in football. You heard it here first. Give Chelsea another $0 for this, because wow, this signing was incredible. And shout out to Rio for clutching up and help us secure another 3 points for real. But like I said, the games come in thick and fast, because next up was an early title clash against Arsenal at Anfield. And this game was pretty dead, I'm not gonna gonna lie to you. I went to a Liverpool bar in New York to watch this game, and I was just standing there with no expression on my face. However, in the 83rd minute, Szoboszlai, the Steven Gerrard reincarnation, comes up clutch. Because 30 yards out, he has a free kick, and I'm thinking, no way this guy is shooting from this range. And he does, but not only that, he bangs it into the top left corner to bring a late 1-0 lead to Liverpool, and helped us collect all 3 points once again in this 1-0 victory over the Gooners. That free kick was so good that it even left Rice speechless for real. I celebrated my butt off too at the bar when this went in. I was in complete shock. I never expected Szoboszlai to shoot from there, nevertheless score. Regardless, with 3 games out of the way now, Liverpool are 3-0 and have collected all 9 points available. And sure, we haven't looked the best admittedly, but great teams find a way to win. And so far this season, it seems like we're always finding a way to win. Hence why I'm so confident about this season. Plus, with us adding Leoni and Alexander Isak at the end of the window, I'm very confident that we're gonna look even better than before. Unless I jinx it. I really hope this video doesn't do that. But anyways, what are your thoughts on Liverpool early on this season? Y'all think we can go win some silverware this season and maybe go back to back in the Prem? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe and also make sure to follow my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and join the Discord community. All of the links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you want to know my entire Champions League predictions are for this season, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.